faster, and I'm really gonna hammer on the brakes. You ready?
Gotcha. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I would say that those are better now. Everything flew off. So this is the big brake kit from G8brakes.com. It comes with pretty much everything you need to put brakes on a 2008, 2009 G8, the 2000, I believe, 7 to 2009 Caprice. And bruh, do you even know cars? They stopped making the Caprice in 2017. Get it right, bruh. You can also put these brakes on the 2004 through 2006 GTO with the special adapter brackets. They're an extra charge, but you'll be able to put these on that car as well. The calipers come pretty much any color you want. You can choose any colors. You could also choose options, like you don't have to get brake lines, you don't have to get the pads, you don't even have to get rotors. You could just buy calipers, pretty much whatever you're looking for. And also, if you're running factory wheels, you're gonna need basically a spacer like this. So if you wanna run the factory G8 rims, you're going to need at least a 5 to 8 millimeter hub-centric spacer just to clear these calipers. But if you have aftermarket wheels, you know, you probably wouldn't have to worry about this. What I'm gonna do is when the car comes here, I'm gonna show you guys how to check spacing for aftermarket wheels to be able to clear these brakes. So I'm waiting for the owner to show up with his Caprice. I told him that I'll actually put the brakes on his car for him so I can show people how to do the install, because there's not a lot of really good information out there. Basically, there's 3 versions of the CTSV that exist. Actually, there's 4 versions now when you get into the CTV4, I forget what it's called. It's the brand new version. It's basically the last V8 powered, last gas powered Cadillac that you can get with a manual, and it comes with big brakes as well. There's also 3 different types of big brake calipers. There's 6-piston and then 2 different kinds of 4-piston. So I'm just waiting for the owner to show up. He has this gorgeous Caprice, which is, like I said, basically the same car. I don't know if anybody in the Caprice world is going to get insulted, but really the interior looks sort of like an SS. Sometimes the interior looks like a G8. The exterior looks very G8. And then honestly, it looks like you could just change the bumpers out and it can be a G8. That's how close it is. So, bruh, I'm getting mad at you for the Holden guys. You're saying they're basically the same car? Do you know anything about Holdens? You better watch it. These guys are going to kick your butt. Keep getting it wrong. I'm warning you. It's the only car I have to do this swap on for you, and it's pretty much the same thing. So we're waiting for him to arrive so I can do the install. Yeah, that's good right there. Alright guys, so the first thing I wanted to show you was whenever you're trying to put big brakes on a G8 or pretty much any cars, you always want to take this measurement. Now on the G8 and the Caprice, the rotors are the same offset whether you have the big brakes or not, just the diameter is different, at least in the front. So if you take a measurement from the back of your spoke to the face of the rotor, it'll give you a good indication if you can fit big brakes. Here you can see we have about 2.5 inches of clearance. I usually use that as a base measurement to know if we can fit, and it looks like based on these wheels we can fit the big brakes. Alright guys, one other thing I want to explain is when it comes to brake lines. The typical Caprice or G8 is basically a 2007 to a 2009, which means these brake lines are from 2007 to 2009. Considering this car was imported, these brake lines could be even older. These might have been sitting in a warehouse from 2005 waiting to go onto the car before it was even imported. So I always recommend changing these. Before you change any of these brake lines, you always want to spray these nuts up here where the brake line meets and let the penetrating oil soak before you do anything. Let that soak in. I usually let it sit for about an hour. What ends up happening is these lines corrode over time, and instead of the nut breaking loose, the line twists. The backup plan is a little bit of heat helps, so you can use maybe a little propane torch to get that to loosen up, but always try to use penetrating oil. Okay, so the brake line's in, the caliper's on. What I want to do is I want to turn the wheel lock to lock just to see how the brake line travels. All right. All right, stop.
Okay, that's hard left.
Hard left. Okay, go all the way right now. All right, perfect. Just keep going though. All right, wait. So I want to pull the line through a little. So I'm pulling the line through a little so we have a little bit more slack from here to here, but from here to here is fine. I just have to tighten everything down wherever I want. That's all the way?
Right there.
All right, go all the way left one more time.
Right.
Oh, good, okay. Yeah, keep going. Actually, this is good for you to see too.
Yeah.
Because where I'm putting the lubrication is right on the, you know, you don't want to get any on the rotor, of course, but basically you want a little bit here just for when you're, when the pads are not being engaged,
okay,
they release.
Yeah.
Well, if there's gunk in there, the pads can get stuck, okay, and then they'll be stuck against the rotor, so the lubrication kind of helps with helping them release, and then it helps with squeaking. Okay. When there's All right, guys, so the calipers are on, the brake lines are run, everything is mounted. We still have to bleed the brakes, but I want to show you how everything's supposed to look. The pins are in, the pads are in, everything is greased, and you just want to rotate this just to make sure you're not going to have any contact. So when you push in on the rotor and rotate, you don't hear any noise other than, you know, when I loosen it and it hits. But if you tighten it down, everything is nice, not hitting, no noise. And you always want to make sure you're not going to have any interference. Okay, so here's the next part of the process. When you're putting the larger rotors in the back, you have to modify this dust shield. So this little lip has to be removed. I've seen people do a bunch of cuts and bend it outward, which is fine. It's quick and easy. The problem is it ends up being bigger than the rotor, and you could actually see this behind the rotor. So you just want to go and just straight cut this thing off. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, we're at the final step. Everything is on the car. We need to bleed the brakes. So when you're bleeding the brakes, you want to start with the inner bleeder, then the outer bleeder, and you want to use something to catch the fluid. Whether you use powder coat, paint, or Cerakote, or like a spray can from AutoZone, brake fluid is basically like an acid. You want to catch that fluid inside something. You don't want to let it leak all over the caliper. So I always use these. This is basically part of a vacuum bleeder, but I want to catch the fluid in this basin. So the next step is going to be us bleeding. All right, so you getting any pedal feel yet?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Tighter.
That's what we want.
Yep.
All right. Hold it. Push it to the floor as hard as you can, then don't let go.
Got it.
All right, yeah, a lot of air came out.
I felt it move like 4 inches.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just tell me when to hold it.
All right, hold it.
All right.
Yeah, there was all air. Could feel it popping through. All right, pump it. Okay, everybody, I just wanted to show you the finished product. We're going to be putting the wheels on, but I wanted you guys to see it before we do that. These brakes look awesome. I definitely wish they came from the factory like this. So what we just got finished doing was bleeding the brakes. So once we got done, we were checking basically everywhere fluid passes just to make sure we don't have any fluid hitting the ground. We don't have any fluid basically leaking out of the bleeders. Make sure everything's nice and tight. And then we're going to go on a road test and bed the brakes in. Yeah, those look good.
Oh, they're awesome, man.
All right, so what I'm doing now is we're bedding the brakes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some low, slow stops, and we have somebody behind us, so it'll give us a reason to do it. But you just want to hit your brakes slowly and lightly. Ready? Now we're gonna go a little faster, and I'm really gonna hammer on the brakes. You ready?
Gotcha. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I would say that those are better now. Everything flew off. Bruh. Not today. Bruh. 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 What'd I do with it? Bruh. Well, it looks like there is a way to shut up Bro Dave. That guy's been driving me nuts. So, hopefully you guys had fun. I had fun filming this video. Hopefully you guys enjoy the stuff I put in the video. I thought it was pretty informative. I wanted to make it easy for everyone who basically wants to modify their G8 or their PPV Caprice. And, you know, I try to do it in a fun way. I've had people also ask me about doing live chats and live streaming. I'm not quite sure of the format that I want to do or if I'm even going to be good at it, but I won't really know unless I try, and if it's something you guys want to see, let me know. Thanks for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. Members, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you supporting the channel, and have a very nice day, everyone.